Hi there, this is John from John's Record Collection. This is box number 9. Uh, it's from the Dynasouls to Esperanza Encantada. So if you want to know what those things are, stay tuned. Hi, this is John from John's Record Collection, and we're here with another unboxing video. I'm finishing out the letter D and moving on to the letter E. So, the first one in the box, the Dynasouls. So this is Pinoy Beatles number 2. So this is a Filipino group, a group from the Philippines named the Dynasouls. And they did an entire album of Beatles songs. This is Pinoy Beatles number 2. I don't know. I guess it wasn't Pinoy Beatles number 1, but I've never seen it. And let's see. Oh, East. This is a psychedelic act, but with more of an Asian sound, with things like kotos instead of sitars. Here's one I got. I got this relatively cheap off eBay because somebody had misspelled the word psychedelic. Psychedelic is a relatively easy word to misspell, so sometimes you can find some good deals if you look for people who misspelled that word. So this was East of Eden, Mercator projected, and it's a UK. It's a pretty good UK psych record. And East Montage. This is an audio montage record. I think it's associated with the Eastman School of Music. And this is the East Village Other. So this is a very important record on the ESP disc label. It has the Fugs and the Velvet Underground on it. Although the Velvet Underground's contribution is basically one song called Noise, and it's basically just a big drone. They don't really do a song on it, it's just and that's it. So the name of the record is the East Village Other, which was a very famous underground newspaper of the 1960s in New York City. So these are like New York jazz guys, and New York guys in the Fugs and the Velvet Underground, and it was a pretty underground cultural happening, which was the kind of thing to do if you were on the cutting edge in 1966. And easy listening Beatles. So this is another album of the kind I have that are all Beatles songs. The Easy Beats, Friday on My Mind, very great group out of Australia. Friday on My Mind was, of course, their big hit in the United States, but they had a lot more hits in their native country of Australia, and the guy who wrote Friday on My Mind, his younger brother Angus, is Angus Young of AC/DC. And John Eaton, Electro Vibrations, so this is another, I have another John Eaton, so John Eaton is another electronic composer that I have some works of. And let's see what we got here. This is a good one. So this is Duke Edwards and the Young Ones, Is It Too Late? This is kind of funk, soul, jazz, spoken word. That's a combination I like. Funk, soul, jazz, spoken word. It's on the Prestige label, which was a jazz label. The guy had some connection to Sun Ra. So I think Duke Edwards was in Sun Ra's band, and this is where he basically went out on his own and started his own band. And a classic Exotica record. Webley Edwards, Fire Goddess. So just love that cover, Love that cover with the strategically placed pots of fire on the front cover. And let's see, this one's called Effie in My World. So kind of a solo female folk psych record. So this is a sort of a post-punk act called Yugoslavia. I found this in the Washington, D.C. area. I think I actually bought the copy from a garage sale that was held by the music teacher, like the high school music teacher or elementary school music teacher, or somebody in the group. But it's a very interesting group. There was a guy who later formed a punk band called Rating Slab, who was in the group. This is kind of a more angular punk funk record in the style of Gang of Four. And Adventures in Sound and Space, so another outer space spoken word record. And the 18th Century Concepts, so this was a band, I have another record by them, the 18th Century Concepts. Their gimmick was that they would dress up in powdered wigs, and they would play harpsichords, and basically play 1960s top 40 pop songs, but they'd play them in a Baroque classical music style. Because if it ain't Baroque, don't fix it. And Eleanor Rigby, Rockin' Drums. I'm not even sure Eleanor Rigby is the name of any group. That's just what the name they slapped on the title. Very beautiful cover. Beautiful woman on a beautiful cover. It's a mostly electronic and drums record from Japan. And the Electric Company, have to get this, because it's associated with my childhood. And the Electric Flag, kind of a bluesy horn rock group of the 1960s, relatively unheralded, but their records are kind of cheap to pick up. Electric Hair. This is Moog synthesizer and electronic synthesizer music that is playing selections from the Broadway musical Hair. So you got the electronic wires coming out of the guy's head. Kimosabi. This is Electric Indian. There's some good. It's mostly electronic instrumentals with some orchestration, kind of pre-disco kind of stuff. Some that's pretty good. And let's see. The Electric Junkyard, because there had to be a group during the 1960s who called themselves the Electric Junkyard. And crazy cover. This is one I like a lot. So if you are into prepared piano, but you also want something psychedelic, so these are psychedelic songs like I Had Too Much, the Electric Prunes, I Had Too Much to Dream Last Night, and the Count Five's Psychotic Reaction, and they're played on these weird electronic keyboards, and it sounds very bizarre. So it's called Psychedelic Seeds by the Electric Piano Playground. I happen to like this a bunch. It doesn't necessarily get great reviews on the internet, but I like it. And of course, the Electric Prunes. So the Electric Prunes, very solid psychedelic band. I like their early psychedelic albums better. They later did some other records where they tried to innovate a genre called God rock, where they would try to do, for example, an entire Latin mass, like, Kyrie eleison and Gloria in Excelsis Deo, and try to give it a psychedelic rock feel. I've kind of stayed clear of those albums, although I may have one of them. But some of those people looking for drum beats do look for them because they were arranged by David Axelrod, who is a very good producer, and a lot of people who look for hip hop beats look for stuff that's produced by David Axelrod. And oh, actually, I do have. So this is one of the God Rock records that they did. Mass in F minor, Kyrie eleison, Gloria, Credo, Sanctus, Benedictus. You know, I've been kind of slagging on this, but maybe I need to listen to this again and see if I like it better. And now this is their good one. This is a really good one. This is their second one. Definitely no sophomore slump here. This has some very solid psych garage tracks to them. Great Banana Hoax, Dr. Do-Good, Long Day's Flight. The first one also has very good, like Are You Loving Me More and Enjoying It Less, very strong, garagey track. And let's see, Electric Village. I found this relatively cheap in a local record store in Minneapolis. I hear some people are into it. It's an interesting sort of world music, fusion-y, jazz stuff that people were experimenting with in the early 70s. The Electric Concept Orchestra. So this is one. This is one of movie tunes. So it's called Cinemogue. So it's mostly soundtracking stuff played on a synthesizer. This is Electric Love. So it has mostly like ballads and love songs played on Moog synthesizer. However, this was the first one, probably the best one. Moog, groove, amazing cover. It actually, this one's the most rockin' of the Electronic Concept Orchestra's records. It actually has, there's a version of the Allman Brothers Feelin' All Right on this, and I think there's a good drum break on that one. Also, it has a cover version of Aquarius, and I gotta have all those cover versions of Aquarius. In fact, speaking of Aquarius, electronic hair pieces. So the electronic hair pieces by Mort Garson, I think. And this is another electronic record that tried to cash in on the popularity of the Broadway musical Hair. And there's a whole bunch of cash-in records that are associated with the musical Hair, and maybe I should collect a bunch more of those. But here, electronic music from the University of Illinois. This is a compilation of composers who performed at that university or were taught at that university. So I'm in the part of my collection where the word is electronic in alphabetical order. So I have a bunch of electronic music number 3, electronic music number 4, let's see, electronic music winners, and this one is electric with a K, electric coconut. It's called Go Moog, and it's a UK Moog record. It's got Jeepster from T-Rex, which is a cool glam song, but it wasn't a hit in the United States. But, girl, I'm just a Jeepster for your love. And the Elephant, I think I found this at a flea market somewhere, but it is a kind of one of those early hard rock records where they didn't necessarily call everything heavy metal yet, but it rocks fairly hard. Okay, so let's see, this is Elephant Steps. It's got some electronic tape and experimental elements on it. It also has involvement by Michael Tilson Thomas. Michael Tilson Thomas is mainly known as the conductor of the San Francisco Orchestra, but before he, I guess, went more legit, he was involved with some more electronic and avant-garde stuff back in the 60s, 70s. The Fred Elias Ensemble, Artistic Moods for Dance, Volume 2. So this is a very Arabic, belly dancing music, but it isn't canned stuff. They're actually like trying to do something with the form and like branch out a little bit and kind of be like jazzy, psychedelic, improvisational, but with belly dance music. Guitars and percussion, the Eliminators. So this is a very good, it's kind of a surf guitar instrumental record, has a couple Beatles covers on it, it's from the UK, so this is a relatively recent one I acquired. I guess I'll have to project over the sounds of my house being renovated, but so Elizabeth sings the songs of the Zodiac. I have to get all the Zodiac and horoscope records. And let's see what else we got here. Oh, this is an amazing record. Sounds What Sounds by Dean Elliott and his Big Big Band. So this is a classic of the Space Age bachelor pad music era. And what is amazing about it is this guy is, he's a band leader, but he's using all these crazy things that aren't instruments as instruments. So the full title, music, music, music with these special percussion effects, cement mixer, air compressor, punching bag, handsaw, thunderstorm, raindrops, celery stalks, the crunchiest, 1001 clocks, bowling pins, and many, many more. So so the songs on this are mostly lounge standards, Tin Pan Alley type standards, but they're played with these cacophonous things like cement mixers and air compressors, and so it's a very, very interesting juxtaposition. But it doesn't sound harsh, like it isn't like industrial music, because it has this sort of loungy standard foundation to it, but it's not boring because it's got all these clunky, cacophonous sounds on top of it too. So it's interesting, very interesting. And this is a very weird compilation that I got. I don't think you can buy it on Discogs because it's kind of unauthorized, but it's Elvis Impersonator Blues. So it's a bunch of songs by Elvis impersonators or songs about Elvis that have been collected onto one compilation, and it's very weird. One of the guys is a guy named Peter Singh, who's a guy who's a Sikh who's out of Wales, who does actually a very killer Elvis impersonation act. Let's see. Room at the Bottom by Charles Embry. This is a relatively obscure record, but it's has some interesting beatnik related material on it. And oh my goodness, I was so glad to be. So this one's pretty hyped up now. So this is Runnin' Wild by Donnie and Joe Emerson. There's an amazing song on it called Baby that was covered by a group called Ariel Pink. But this is the original. I was hip to this very early by a guy named Will Louvier, who knows a lot about private presses. So I really thank him for that. He really did me a solid on this one, because now I realize like everybody's chasing this record, and evidently it's getting more expensive. But I got it when people weren't chasing it so much, but it is still very much a record to cherish. And it's like these guys look like teen idols, like they're trying to be the Osmonds, but it's actually just like this killer 1970s power pop. and their melodies are just so tight and so on point. And for you Exotica folks, Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. So if you like a lot of rainforest jungle noises, this is definitely your thing. And I think there's even like an electronic track on here too. But this is like one of the best of the records from Disneyland ever. And let's see. Okay, the Enchanted Valley works played on hammered dulcimer. This has some interesting. So it's hammered dulcimer, but they play stuff that isn't like folk music dulcimer. Like they play Dave Brubeck's Take 5 on a dulcimer. So I like it when things are played on an instrument that you usually don't expect the song to go with. And so that's an example. The Neptune Collection by the Entourage Music and Theater Ensemble. This is kind of a weird psychedelic improvisational troupe that ended up on Folkways Records. So Folkways was supposed to be, just folk, but they ended up pretty much recording everything under the sun without really much of any commercial considerations. And so this is one of the things that got on there. And Epitaph for a Legend. So this is a compilation that is designed to honor the great record label International Artists, which was a record label from Texas that specialized in psychedelic music. So Epitaph for a Legend for the Texas International Artists label. It's mainly known as the label that had 13th Floor Elevators on it. It had Bubble Puppy on it. It also had some other lesser-known groups like Golden Dawn and The Lost and Found. Red Crayola was on the label. The label only lasted long enough to put out about less than 15 albums. But the albums it put out, almost all of them, they count. So they just, but unfortunately they didn't sell much records and they went out of business very quickly by the early 70s. But they are a cult label, and this is another one of those contemporary classical music records from the Nutsuch label associated with Elektra Records. Donald Erb, ERB, Music for Instruments and Electronic Sounds. So I used to pick up these Nutsuch 20th century classical records for relatively cheap. I think some of them are still pretty cheap, but it's very interesting experimental stuff. Mark Eric, A Midsummer's Daydream. So this is kind of an interesting record because it's psychedelic music that instead of sounding like the Beatles, he sounds like the Beach Boys. So he sounds like good vibrations era Beach Boys and Smiley Smile and that era of the Beach Boys, and it's really good. And this is a Erica. You used to think on the ESP Disc label, and I guess that's Erica on the back. Her name was Erica Pomerantz. Oh my God, I guess it's a drawing of people having sex on the front cover. And it is just absolutely insane music. Very much a singular idiosyncratic sensibility behind it all. And Rocky Erickson. So Rocky Erickson was the lead singer of the 13th Floor Elevators, and this was one of his albums before he died. All That May Do May Rhyme. And I have another one of his. So this is Rocky Erickson and the Aliens, The Evil One. So this is another Rocky Erickson record. And the Eric, Look Where I Am. And this is so the Vanguard label has a lot of really good psychedelic acts on it. There's a lot of really obscure stuff that got signed to that label, and this is one of them. There's one song on here, You Said, / But I've Got My Way, that's about, I think it's about 11 minutes long, and it has this really sharp cutting, scalpel-like electric guitar to it. It almost sounds a little bit like the 1970s punk group Television, but it's an amazing track. But the rest of the tracks on here are good. But there's this track on this that is just so much better. It's like you wouldn't believe how good it is. And the Erotic Delights of Lady C. So this is, I guess, based on Lady Chatterley's Lover. And let's see. Erotic Guitar, Central Background Music in Stereo, performed by Dr. O. So I have this under E, the Erotic Guitar. And this is, it's pretty much, it's actually like John Fahey style folk guitar, but with a woman doing heavy breathing over it. So I don't know if there's any other kind of record that has that combination. But this is a very unusual combination and just a very interesting record. And the guitar is actually quite good. This one I think is the guy Chino under a different name, but it's not. This one doesn't have any credits for anybody, but I think it's Chino, the African percussion guy. He was a black guy from America, but he pretended to be from Africa. But he did this amazing percussion, and so this one is called Erotic Percussion, and I think. And obviously, it's just an amazing cover. It's like a French impressionist nude on the front cover. And this one, this is another record with heavy breathing on it. Erotica Rides Again. And this one is the classic of the heavy breathing records. Erotica, The Rhythms of Love. So this record, it's basically somebody playing bongos and somebody squeaking some bed springs and a woman breathing heavy like she's having sex and having orgasms and stuff. And it was made in I think it was made in 1958, which is the strange thing. And it was actually prosecuted for obscenity back in the day. Even though there's no pictures, it's just sounds. It's just dirty sounds, and so it's kind of amusing to me in that way. And so Erotica Volume 1, and so there were eventually that Erotica Volume 1 was popular enough that they made a series of erotica records. And Duke Errol and the Lords, this is another steel drum record I have to have because it has a Beatles cover on it, A Hard Day's Night. So, Hard Day's Night on steel drum. Karen Irvin, Karen Irvin is a percussionist. So this is a very, very interesting sort of percussion-laden experimental, classical, jazzy record. And so this is a compilation from ESP Disc. So I like to collect records from ESP Disc. So this one's called the ESP Sampler, and it has a lot of out there jazz records on it. But it also has the Fugs on it, and another psych band called Pearls Before Swine on it. And so this is a good stoned record. So this is homegrown South Rush by a guy named Esper. He was from the Northern Virginia area. Mainly he would just record like electronic stuff, and then he'd say stuff like, he'd say words over it like, "Do you like to get high? Do you like to get high?" So that's kind of what this is. And then here, so this is the last one in the box. Esperanza Encantada. It's a brother and sister act, and they do songs in both English and Spanish. They have an English cover version of Hey Jude, but I like it even more for the Spanish cover of Let It Be, which they title Sea Así, which I think means Let It Be So, if my 4 years of high school Spanish are correct. And so there's like, so it's kind of psych and Latin, and it's a brother-sister act, and it's kind of, it's kind of smooth and psych and Latin and not too hard. And, so that's the end of box number 9, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.